In this parashat Shoftim, the Judges, what I would like to emphasize, last week I asked you in the parashat Re'eh, I asked you that you make it personal, forget about that he's talking to Israel, he's talking to you. Here it's very clear that he's talking to you, because talking in second person, singular, you. Okay? If you read the Torah, it's talking to you. Now, and start, we appointed judges and officers or guidance to guide you in your life, to protect you and to make you feel that you are walking in the right place. In our sages, they have a lot of imagination, and they have sometimes wonderful illustrations that help us to understand sometimes certain particular verses or portions better. Here, we are talking about to me. Moshe Rabbeinu is talking to me directly. I hope that you feel in that way that he's talking to you. And he say that basically that he say you shall appoint you. But this in English is very difficult, the differentiation of the you singular with the you plural. But he is like you say die, die, Thy, or doubt. The Old English sometimes will come very good to read this portion. If you have an old version of any old translation, you have the thou and the thy, you can see it even better. But it's talking to you as singular. And then you must appoint judges and officers, or the translated policemen, or the people who guide you, to have in your gates. Okay? In your gates. Now, this is what is the beautiful illustration among our sages. Our sages say that all of us, we have 7 gates in front of us. Can you imagine what are those gates? I'm going to tell you. Our ears, our eyes, our nostrils, and our mouth. 7 gates. 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, and 1 mouth. I am glad that we have only 1 mouth. Because there is that little element called tongue. And that is very destructive, as we know. And it's very powerful. But here, what I want to talk to you is about something practical. Because to me, all this year has been applying Torah in our lives. Many of us were very knowledgeable about the time, the year, and what were the ideas, and what happened at that time that Moshe was giving, and Moshe was dying, and that was his last year, and he knew that he was going to disappear, and he was not going to go to the promised land, all those things. Yeah. All of that is beautiful. But what the message has for me today. This is what is very important right now. Look, you hear, you see, you smell, and you taste or you talk, whatever the senses are. Have you ever read news about somebody and you have believed it? Not only you have believed it, but you have made already your decision and you have judged whatever happened in the newspaper. You didn't ask for second opinion, or you didn't ask for somebody to corroborate. You made your decision. Oh, this person is evil. Why? Because I read that was evil. And sometimes you don't know how it's happening, especially in politics, when they try to destroy a person, they can say whatever they want to say. Now, I used to have a friend that used to be part of our community. He is not any longer with us. And my prayer is that he's in the presence of the Creator. And is that he used to say to me, I only believe what is printed in the newspaper. For him, the only truth will come through the newspapers, because the newspaper couldn't lie to you. You needed to believe, because if that's printed, it needs to be true. You know, lately we have seen many atrocities through the news. I don't know how many of you have been following, or followed, but this already a long time ago, the judge that was going to be appointed to the Supreme Court in the United States. You know? And there came a lot of accusations. There came a woman that accused him, and there were a lot of accusations. And everybody started writing against this man and literally destroyed his reputation and everything of the many years for something that supposedly he did when he was a teenager. The word "but" now has been proven that everything that was said was not true, that was invented, was the product of the imagination of the woman that was sick. But can you undo? You know, the illustration among the rabbinical illustration about this rabbi that they were talking against him by a person in the community because he disliked the rabbi because he was not giving him a position of honor supposedly to take or to carry the Torah. And he started talking bad about the rabbi. Then the rabbi heard that and brought him to his office, and the man said to him, "I'm sorry, Rabbi, but I was so upset that I needed was a way for me to vent my hurt against you." You know, and he said, "Well, everything that you have said is not true, as you know." "Yes, I know, Rabbi, but I am sorry, and please, I'm going to apologize publicly." I said, "Before you apologize publicly, I'm going to give you a thing to do." You know, I say, go to the middle of the plaza of this little community and get a pillow full of feathers. Then, in the middle of the plaza, open that pillow and throw it in the air. And then pick up every feather that came out. And then the man goes and does it, and then come back after a while, and he say, "Rabbi, I'm sorry, it's impossible to withdraw or to take back all the feathers." He said, "That's what you have done. Doesn't matter how much you are going to apologize, publicly, privately, or whatever, people already believe it. And we cannot do anything about it." Sometimes we need to take care and we need to appoint judges and officers in our ears, in our eyes, in our nostrils, in our mouths. Because sometimes for us it's impossible to stop them. And we need something to show us how to stop it. You see, not everything that you see is what it is. Sometimes you can have what we call when you're in the desert and you walk, a mirage. Sometimes you think you saw something and that didn't happen. It's all the product of your imagination. Sometimes you hear something from somebody, and instead to check it, you accept it. Not only you accept it, but you speak out about it. Sometimes, what many of us we do is we talk about somebody because we don't like the person, or the person is not something that we would like to be close, and we say things that they are not true. They're product of our imagination. Let me ask you something. How we are going to be able to withdraw everything that we do? It's impossible. This is the reason that the Creator is telling from now on, be careful with the 7 gates that you have. Because you are the only one that is responsible for it. And nothing better than to put as a true judge our Creator, and true officer our Creator. That we need to do accounting with Him. That is the reason that the Creator gave us the opportunity to go through this time of the year and to prepare ourselves for doing Teshuvah, to coming back to Him and to make it right. Because Teshuvah is not only coming back to the Creator, but it's trying to make it right, to correct the things that we have done wrong. And like this man who sparse all the feathers in the middle of the plaza of the little town, was impossible for him to pick up all the feathers. And for us sometimes it's impossible to pick up everything that we have done wrong. And we need to suffer the consequences for that. You know, all depending each one of us how we are, our personalities. The Creator said that be sure that the judge that you choose is not a partial judge. Doesn't accept briberies. You know, because he will be blinded to do what is right. Have you ever had a situations in which you have somebody that you know and somebody that you don't know, and you have said, well, I know him, and I can put my hands on the fire for this person. But this person, I don't know, that person must be evil. And we have not given the opportunity to the other person that we don't know to make it clear. Only we have accepted what we have heard. How many of us we have taken positions against other people based on what we have heard instead of what we really know? What we have heard instead. And no, we hear and we talk. How many of us we are guilty of spreading things that they are not true? You say, I never talk about anybody else. But if somebody comes to me and say, have you heard? Oh yeah, I remember. Oh, look at it. Oh, it's not amazing how bad it is. We have accepted. Today it's very difficult sometimes to know what is true and what is not true. That is the reason that I always say to people, don't be afraid to listen when you hear something and to check for your own. Search, look for other side. Because that, if you are going to make an opinion about something, be informed. This is where it comes, and I call it the fanaticisms. You will be surprised how many people are more fanatic than honest with themselves. The fanaticism has blinded them to discern for the truth. Because my religion is the only one truth. And I ask people, which religion has all the truth? And you want it or not, and the honest truth is this, that most of the religions are man-made as a response to the Creator or to their gods or whatever they have. But it's man's response. And very little time we allow the Creator to talk to us. We are constantly busy telling the Creator who He is and what He needs to do for us. Very few times we have the position and the timing to sit down and only to learn. How many times we have fallen in the trap of others? Because instead to be ourselves, we become followers. We accept what everybody say, instead to search and to look and to check. You know, I always say to people, do not believe anything they say to you until you check it with the scriptures. And if I am wrong, I am the one who's wrong, not the scriptures. I don't have the capability, neither the condition, to set the scriptures straight. I was listening a rabbi who I have a very special respect, and he was saying something that almost brought me out of my seat. What I was saying basically is that Moshe Rabbeinu gave us a second Torah called the Shear. And because it's a second Torah, in many understandings, it's more appropriate to follow that than to follow the first Torah, because the second Torah is more evolved, has evolved more and has more clarity to the thing that the first Torah was given to us. First of all, there is only one Torah, there is only one Ten Commandments. That is the scriptures. I told you before, if you remember, that in the ark, in the Aron, that what is there inside is the tablets of the Ten Commandments, the 10 sayings. You don't have the Chumash there. Why the Creator make it in that way? Many people say because there was no room, and how you want to write at that time in stones the whole books. The books they were developing, but He gave us what the Ten Commandments. And now we are advancement with immense knowledge and we are better understanding. Now we are creating other things to the point that we have come to the situation in which we compare ourselves with the Creator, and we tell the Creator that we as human beings, we are smarter than He is. Sometimes we say it directly, sometimes we say it in an indirect way by our actions. Then, what are the people, or who are the areas in which you are putting judges and officers to yourself? Do you have people that you have given them the opportunity to mentor you? Do you have people that you accept them as people with a little bit more wisdom or chokmah, that you can listen to them and ask them questions that sometimes for you is difficult? I am not saying to you to follow what they say, but to give you a perspective. And then you need to decide it. Because there is no worse fool than the one that they think he knows everything, or he has the answer for everything. My father, blessed be his memory, used to say to me, son, meanwhile you have life, you need to keep learning, studying. When you stop learning, you start dying. And here there is a portion that my father used to come to me all the time. And I think this is the Jewish nefesh, soul, ours, in this verse. In chapter 20, I'm sorry, in verse 20, the chapter is 16, the Barim, and the verse is 20, there is a phrase that my father used to repeat to me over and over again. And still today it's here in my head. Tzedek, tzedek, tirdof. You know, I don't want to put ourselves in a pedestal, but I believe that we Jewish people, we have a sense of justice that is greater than any other race or group in the world. There is no other race group in the world. Sorry, I don't want to sound racist. I don't want to sound superior to anybody. That's not the issue. But that sense of justice is so in us that sometimes it's too strong. And sometimes we do not understand the actions of Israel because that sense of justice. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice, you must pursue all the time. Even if that goes against yourself. Look at that. Even if it goes against yourself. We are constantly protecting ourselves. And we are very quick to judge others. And sometimes we have tongues that are too fast to talk. And then we suffer the consequences. Well, what we can do? To put ourselves a muscle like they do with the animals, not to talk and not to say anything. We put blinders in our eyes not to see. We cover our ears not to hear. We put a clip in our nose not to smell. That's what the Creator is trying to teach us? No, totally the contrary. But He's telling us that whatever we do, we need to examine before anything our kavanah, our intention. What are we doing certain things? Because if we're trying to do it to help, that will be wonderful. There is a term that has lost meaning with the time. And we have lost it in such a way that now is only what is political correct, or what is theological correct, or what is sociological correct. No, we are in the correctness. But there is a little word that I like it. In my language, it's tacto. In English, it's tact. You see, sometimes, not because we are right, we have the right to talk immediately. No, sometimes when we see something that is wrong, we don't need to jump. We need to look for the right way and the right time how to talk. It's not who insults more is a big winner. It's not that because I am clever, I am the one that's right. Tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice you must pursue. No matter what. Like I said to you, even if it goes against yourself. That's what makes you, give you integrity. That is the area of decency that we have lost in these times. Today, everything is valid. Valid. Everything is valid. Doesn't matter. Everything is permissible. Because it's what is the best for me. Because I am the center of the universe, and I am. And here say, in this portion, he say, do not make idols. Do not bow to other gods. not one to the armies of heavens, not to the sun, not to the moon, not to anybody else, because we have only one Creator, and He's the one that leads us. Then, in your 7 gates that you have, which is the one that gives you more problems? They're thinking about it. By the way, there are people who don't talk, but that doesn't mean that because they don't talk, they don't get in trouble. Usually the most well-known getting in trouble are those ones who talk a lot, you know? That's the reason they mislead. They say, you know, even a dummy person who keeps themselves quiet looks like intelligent. No? What Yeshua, great teacher, Rabbi, said to us. Don't point your finger to somebody else's eyes when there are 3 back coming to you, you know? Don't look at the little speck in the eye of your neighbor when you have a big, big lot in your own eyes. This is the reason about being judges. A judge cannot take sides. A judge needs to be impartial. That is the reason that in the scripture they say that a judge cannot hear one person before the other when he is not present. He needs to hear both of them at the same time. Why? If you hear first one person and then later on you hear the other person. Because the first person has already made your mind. You already have taken what the person says. But if they both talk at the same, not at the same time because you cannot, but one after the other in the same moment, the first time, you don't have the time yet to make yourself one side or the other because you need to analyze both sides. The Torah is very practical. It's not to be holier than thou, not to be better than others. It's not to say, I don't do what the other people do. How many times I have heard from people that saying, oh, Rabbi, I am not like them. Maybe you are not like them doing certain things, but maybe you are worse than them doing other things. And instead to put ourselves in a pedestal, we need to humble ourselves before the Creator. That's the reason that I keep repeating you these verses. Search me, O God, and look within me, and see if there is any obstacle, anything that impede, that doesn't allow me to have a direct relationship with you. And then, what I am asking you is that you show me what is the things that are holding me back. Because if I don't see it, how I can correct it? And then help me not to do them anymore. In that way, I can have a relationship with you. What a beautiful passage for me. Means so much because it's very practical. Because put me in my place. Doesn't make me believe that I am holier than anybody else or I am better than anybody else. Totally the contrary. I see all my faults and I see all my limitations and I see how much I need of the Creator and I need of all of you to help me. Because a community is for that, to help each other, to lift up each other, to hold each other when we are going through difficult times, to be sensitive enough to understand that even if when we fail, we are part of the community and we are humans. And for that reason, we have a second chance. I always call my God is the God of the beginning again. He never is pointing us with a finger. He's always extending his arms to come back to him. That's my God. I don't know which kind of God people has. People like a God that is going to punish me. A God that is going to hurt me. You know? And the only thing that I learned about my God is, yes, I am punished for my mislead. Believe me, I know what it is when you are punished by your own actions. Okay? But I will never, ever blame the Creator. Totally the contrary. I need to go back to Him and say, I'm sorry that I didn't follow your advice. I'm sorry that I blew it myself. And now I need to make it right. And make it right is very interesting. Okay? Look at this. A secret about making right. You go to the Creator and you confess, no? But with the first person that you need to make it right is yourself. You think it's the person that you have hurt or injured or whatever. No, no, no. The first person that you need to make it right is with yourself. You need to learn about forgiveness. And forgiveness needs to start with yourself. You need to accept that we, as human beings, we commit mistakes, we do wrong. There is no perfection in humans. That's how the Creator made us. He didn't intend to make us perfect. That's the reason that He gave us Bechira Hovshi. He gave us free will. For each one of us to be responsible for our own actions. Because if we were not responsible for our action, the only one responsible for our action would be the Creator. And we become only robots. Now, I hope that you understand me, this simple message of this morning is about which gates are you struggling with in your life. And then you make it what I call a self-examination, introspection, and that's what really the word tefillah means, or prayer is translated as prayer, but it's introspection. When you pray, people say, oh, I'm praying to God. No, no, no. You're praying to yourself to discover. That's the reason I say, search me, O God, and look within me. And when you go through that process, be glad when you find the areas that you need to put it right. And then you are going to come ahead of everybody else. May the Lord give us wisdom, give us understanding, and give us openness of heart to each one of us to accept the areas that we need to change or improve, and to give it the glory and the honor to Him for allowing us to begin again. Blessed be His name. Shabbat Shalom.